You're fading in?
Fading in.
What's up, Brewskis?
Faded.
My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, is the great and powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What is up, Brewskis?
Tonight's brew is from Dewclaw Brewing Company. It's the Sour Me. And it's well, you know what? I'm not going to say another word.
Don't you do it.
What's on tap for tonight, Obi?
Well, we have an official announcement, technically local announcement, that made worldwide news. And that's a brand new amusement park from Universal Studios Orlando. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah.
Very cool. Also, kind of a follow-up on the wrestling news that we got last week. It always seems like every time we think we dropped some kind of bombshell on here, the day after, something else happens.
It's a curse.
So if you follow wrestling, or if you just follow sports, because it was everywhere,
yeah,
you will know that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is finally, after all these years, facing the consequences of his actions, really. That's the only way that I can put it.
Allegedly.
Yeah. His alleged actions.
Sure.
So we'll go into some of the details. Some of them you don't.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
We want to stay on YouTube.
Right.
So, yeah. And then finally, we are going to talk about a potential replacement for Kang the Conqueror in the MCU.
We was Kangs. All that and probably just that.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. This is episode 414 of the One Beer In podcast.
Ha!
Oh man, I can't wait for this. This here. Let's clink it up.
Clink and drink. Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and we see where that one brew takes us. My name is Marco Dupa, as I said before. That's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yes.
And speaking of Adam Obesius Rodriguez, you're going to tell us a little bit about what we're drinking tonight?
I would love to. This is the Dewclaw Brewing Co. Sour Me Double Triple Berry Imperial Sour Ale. It's an ale with strawberry, blackberry, and raspberry purees. Craft be cherished, rules be damned. Cold read goes as follows. Triple the berry for triple the flavor. Sip back on this sweet sour as a cascade of berry essence flows out with aromas of juicy strawberries, blackberries, and pink raspberries. Excuse me.
Come on. What's going on with you?
It's a lot of gas. 7% ABV. And yeah, that's all we got from this bad boy.
7%? That's it?
Yeah.
It's an imperial sour ale
And, you know, I thought about that, and it's one of the reasons why I picked it up is because 7 is a little stronger than your general ales, or your sour ales.
Not
but
that much stronger.
Not that much.
I mean, a sour ale, you know, I've seen 5-6%.
Yeah, 5. I'd say
7%, that's...
The ones I've seen are usually like 5 to 6.
Yeah.
But 7, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was curious to see how strong the flavor would be not being like a 9 or 10%.
Yeah.
But still being technically an imperial sour.
Where did you grab this from?
I got this from the liquor store in my apartment complex.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool.
So I'd never seen it before, and we don't usually do sours on the show. So yeah. I figured, let's give it a go.
All right. Speaking of giving it a go, let's give this show a go. Oh, all right. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. Oh, God. Okay. Let's talk about the Epic Universe.
Epic Universe. Universal Epic Universe was announced, I think, a couple of years ago, because people started noticing there was construction happening at Universal Studios. Somehow there's still room. I don't know where.
I don't know where they keep. Yeah,
they're
where they
inventing
just keep
space,
dropping stuff here.
Yeah.
Some of it's going into like an interdimensional black hole.
Yeah.
Where it just floats until they need it again.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they apparently do have the room for it because they're making a new theme park, and it's called Universal Epic Universe. Officially, more information announced this week, and that includes on Universal's website. So I'll just give a quick read through of what their headline says here. 5 immersive worlds, 1 amazing theme park. Get ready, in 2025, Universal Epic Universe changes everything. Explore astounding worlds beyond anything you've experienced before. And it includes different worlds, as you would expect in a modern theme park. Celestial Park is, I guess, like the entrance area. There's going to be another Wizarding World of Harry Potter area. The long-anticipated Super Nintendo World in Orlando.
Cool.
How to Train Your Dragon area, which I didn't realize was that big of a franchise.
But
But
strange.
And then Dark Universe, which I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be like classic horror Universal monsters.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's what we have so far. There's more information on some of the rides and stuff if you look at like some insider scoops. So, obviously, I was able to already go to Super Nintendo World, so I have an idea of what that's going to be like.
And where did you go? How did you
Japan?
get to Japan?
Yeah, I went to Japan and got to go see that. But yeah, so that's exciting. What do you think about these sort of planned worlds? Obviously, we were waiting for more info on a lot of this stuff, but the general setup, how do you feel about it? Does it pique your interest at all?
I mean, for me personally, I mean, the Super Mario World, I'm like everybody else, been very excited. Me being me excited.
Yeah. It's a me excited.
It's a me excited. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I've been waiting for that to hit our Universal Studios. It's kind of weird that we weren't the first. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense that Japan was the first one with it.
I'll let them get away with that one.
Yeah, but we definitely should be.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't. But I guess because maybe maybe they had plans and then they were like, well, we're gonna do this whole big thing.
Yeah.
Why don't we make it a part of this big thing now?
Makes sense.
The one that I'm really confused about, as you alluded to, was the How to Train My Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon. Right. Sorry, not my dragon.
Not mine.
Yours.
You train yours.
You can train my dragon. Not because the movie is not good. Those movies are good.
Yeah.
I'm confused because I didn't really think of that universe as something that people wanted to live in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Wizarding World makes sense because people want to be wizards and fucking sorcerers.
Clearly a Harry Potter fan. Yeah.
But, Super Nintendo World is so immersive that, of course, you want to like plop yourself in there and run around. But the How to Train Your Dragon universe, again, not to say anything against the movies. I know the movies are like super popular. That's why they made fucking 4 or 5 of them. But
all like
you see what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
the actual world to me doesn't seem that iconic that people want to live in it.
And you know, I'm a nerd about this stuff, so I did some early digging on what these worlds would be, and I think it was I want to say it was previously thought to be a full-on like DreamWorks themed area.
That makes more sense.
Which is what I was thinking, unless I'm misremembering, and they're going to do that in OG Universal Studios, which they may do.
Would love to go to Shrek Swamp.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why not make it more expansive than just How to Train Your Dragon?
See that boulder?
Yeah,
that's a nice boulder.
Yeah. I want to go in his little hut.
Yeah,
you know, in the swamps. And I mean, it'd be a perfect way to like parody Disney World too.
Yeah,
you know, like it makes itself. So I don't understand why we wouldn't go with Shrek. Maybe that's my old head talking here, because How to Train Your Dragon, it's relatively newer.
But I mean, the first one came out when we were in our mid-20s.
Yeah, something like that.
And I don't know.
I just haven't heard anyone talk about How to Train Your Dragon recently.
I mean, again, I know people like the movie.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, they're good movies.
And they're well-reviewed. Like, people like these movies, but it just doesn't seem like that franchise to, like, make a world around.
To me, it doesn't scream iconic franchise, iconic world.
Yeah.
Like, nothing about it. I'm very confused about that one.
I mean, maybe it was more of a thing of, like, it's pretty easy to theme around because it's like, let's just make it Viking stuff and kind of do that.
Yeah, I mean,
and the rides make sense because it's like, oh, let's ride a dragon.
Yeah,
whatever.
They could just straight up do, like a Renaissance fair.
Yeah, basically,
but just themed around this movie.
Yeah,
I don't know, that one I don't get, but the rest of it looks fun.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say I'm most excited, obviously, for Dark Universe, and it's because it seems like they're kind of setting it up to be like a 365 Horror Nights, which is exactly what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
So that seems cool. And
why does that picture look similar to the Ministry of Magic?
They all look similar. They're all gates.
Oh, I guess.
See,
I see. I didn't.
Now, mind you, there's an asterisk on the entire website, and it's that these are all conceptual pictures, so it may not look exactly the same as when it comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the whole theme is like you're going through a portal to another world.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Lame. No.
But yeah, I mean,
the Ministry of Magic thing, isn't that just like an office building in the in the show?
Yeah.
Isn't the Ministry of Magic just like where they deal with like clerical errors? And I know obviously it's more than that, but like it just feels like excuse me, the Ministry of Magic is like where they hold trials and
you get to see witches and wizards get persecuted for their crimes.
It feels like they're making a Wizarding World courthouse.
Yeah.
like the whole thing is gonna just be like logistical errors and like you're
paperwork.
Just, like part of it is just waiting in a long line all day.
It's the DMV.
Yeah. And you get up there.
Scary. Woo. Yeah. So, well, the quick write-up for it is from 1920s Paris to the 1990s British Ministry. Explore international wizarding communities and the magic that connects them in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. So
yeah, it's super vague.
Yeah, they're going to, I guess, theme it to 1920s Paris and then 90s England. I guess that's how they're going to distinguish it from the other wizarding worlds that they already have.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why don't they just make one where you can go into the fucking school?
I mean, technically, they already do with the ride. You go into the school on that ride.
Nah, that's not the same.
In the queue,
Not
know.
The same.
Yeah.
Because if you had like actual Hogwarts, you could be like going into their bedrooms and
just laying in their beds. What are you gonna do in their bedrooms? They're children, Marco. Stop being creepy. You gonna go into the bathrooms too? You gonna try to kiss that ghost girl or whatever?
Dude, I didn't mean it like that. Okay, I didn't mean it like that.
Why is that the first thing you thought to do?
I didn't mean it like.
Just gonna go in those bedrooms.
Man, why would they let us go in the bedrooms? Hey, I won't disturb them while they're sleeping.
I'll just watch them.
I'll just watch them. Yeah. Like it'll be me and one of the paintings. We'll be watching these kids sleep. No, I just meant like to be able to like go through. Wouldn't it be cool if like you could go into the room where the three of them hang out?
Yeah.
And like go through.
Sure. Yeah.
Go through their stuff.
Yeah.
Rummage through their drawers. Like read their personal diaries and stuff like that.
Find some chocolate frogs.
you know? Yeah, lay in their bed, sniff their pillows, just live in it. Just really live in it.
I get it, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think that experience is going to happen. So you got to let that one go.
Listen, I would like for that, for all the worlds to be like that. Like I would like to sleep in Mario's bed too,
Sure, yeah.
Wears overalls.
Does he have a bed?
Wears big shoes.
Never seen his bed.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Wear his Red Wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
big old Simpson shoes. Like his shoes. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fictional characters.
They are. Real to me, damn it.
Yeah. I don't even care, man.
Okay. All right. Well, the Epic World will be opening 2025.
Let's just say this, but like to kind of cap this off, I guess. It's going to be something big for the city. Let's say that.
Huge.
Yeah. So
Also, don't expect to be able to go for like probably 5 years because
straight up,
it's going to be crazy. I will say the one good thing about it that I'm thinking as like a native is that the other parks will be that less crowded. So
yeah, that's true. Now I'll finally go to Galaxy's Edge.
There you go.
I don't have to worry about all these people there.
Yeah,
they're going to be sleeping
at
in
the
Hermione's bed.
Please,
honestly,
please no.
Let me just say something about that joke.
Okay.
I honestly wanted to say any other name, and hers was the first one that popped up. I wanted to say,
let's talk about
like
that.
a more obscure name.
Yeah.
Cho Chang, maybe.
Sure.
Not Cho Chang. All right. So let's talk about Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Okay. It's a good transition.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing much worse.
It's true.
Than these
in
jokes
comparison,
that
you look like a saint.
Much worse.
Yeah.
What do you mean in comparison? I look like I'm not even on the same planet of what he's been accused of doing.
You're in the same epic world, my friend.
Hell no. Okay, all right. This is serious stuff.
Yes.
These are serious, very serious allegations.
Reel it in, yeah.
Very, very nasty stuff.
Well, the thing with Vince McMahon has been like, he's been known to be an absolute scumbag.
Yeah.
Like, forever.
Yeah.
Since I was old enough to watch wrestling, he has been the villain overall.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of that was put on for his character.
Yeah.
But
it came from who he was.
Exactly. The more that you learned about him as a person outside of the ring, the more you realize, like, no, he's actually that guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like you can speak to this story more than me, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumors about his alleged misconduct for years. He got. They found out when they did like Discovery and everything, when they were all this stuff is really, it's all really, it stinks, dude. It stinks. And not just because of like, for the obvious reasons, but like so many, they're worried, like WWE insiders and stuff, they're worried that like if this goes to trial and they have to do Discovery, that
there's going to be a lot to discover.
Oh my God. So much stuff is probably going to come out. Yeah. So like, number one of the biggest things that came out around, okay, let me just say this first. I guess we're not going to go into detail about like
the allegations.
Just, you can look it up for yourself if you want to. Just suffice to say, he paid off a woman, this lady who came to him in her hour of, this is according to her, in her hour of need, and asked for a job. And instead of giving her just some like office position, he basically pimped her out to all of these executives and some and this is what I've heard
this part,
big, massive names in the business, in the actual wrestling business. There was one that they said was like a former UFC champion turned WWE champion, and they're like, well, there's only...
Wonder who could that be? Yeah.
It's like, you don't even have to do this. It's one guy. It would be... It's like... It would be like... there was this guy... His name rhymes with Schrock Schreschner, but we can't say who it is.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into it, but you know,
we can't put his actual name. But let's just say it's a guy with a big knife tattoo.
He's got a really big knife tattoo.
That's all we can say
chest.
about it. Blonde hair, massive guy, multiple time champion.
Yeah.
UFC champion. You know, but we can't say anything more than that.
Schrock Schreschner.
Schrock Schreschner.
Yeah.
He allegedly was a part of this.
Yeah.
John Laurinaitis, a guy who was in charge of talent relations, was a part of it, which is just horrifying.
Yeah.
If you know what John Laurinaitis looks like or sounds like. He reminds me of the comedian who passed away recently, who was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That doesn't help you guys, but that's that's all we're gonna say about that.
Sure.
So that is apparently one of the first dominoes to fall in what could be a complete collapse of the old guard.
Yeah.
That they're worried that once more information comes to light, that they're just gonna have to like clean sweep.
Yeah.
A very large portion of the executive brass at WWE. Stephanie McMahon, his daughter, she resigned right after he came back into power.
Yeah.
Which was super suspicious. Everyone was like, "What's that about?" She didn't give a statement. She didn't say. She barely
just backed away.
She just was like, "Thank you guys for the opportunity. Love the fans.
Yeah.
Peace." And she disappeared into. She just rode
Obscurity.
off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Nobody
Never to be seen again.
No one has seen Shane McMahon in years. We don't know what's going on with him. I mean, so basically, they're saying that a lot of people knew this was going on, and because he was who he was, they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And
he was the Lord God of WWE.
Yeah, and he was. And to your point about like we grew up on him being a villain, I mean he's been doing villainous shit our entire lives, but it was all under the guise of him being like a bad dude. He was a bad dude on camera, but he was a bad dude off camera.
You couldn't that I think that is maybe the most ingenious and evil part of this whole thing is that it was not an accident that his on-screen persona was this piece of shit.
Right.
It was so that it blurred the lines between reality and the act to a point where you couldn't really point the finger at him because he, at least people who wanted to make excuses could say, it's part of the show, man.
Yeah.
Like you're taking it too serious.
Yeah, dude. There's stuff that happened on camera. On big, there's one really famous segment with Edge and Lita where Edge wins the WWE Championship, and then on Raw he has a live sex celebration. Yeah, this is real.
Oh Lord.
Okay, you can look this up. This actually happened, and I remember watching it as a kid, going, "What is happening?" They bring a bed into the middle of the ring. And
I remember this now. Yeah.
Edge and Lita, literally, I thought for sure, I'm watching this as a kid, and I thought for sure, like, at some point, like, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
The bed's going to break, or,
somebody's jump in the ring.
Yeah, something. No, they literally get in bed, they take their clothes off, and they start going at it until I think John Cena runs. I don't remember, but somebody does run in and interrupt it.
Yeah.
But it's not before they full on just do it in the middle of the ring. And comes out years later that Lita didn't want to do it.
I wonder why.
She went to Edge, and Edge tried to champion for her. I was trying to think of a better word for that. But he goes to Vince, and he's like, we shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
John Cena goes to Vince and says we shouldn't do it. Multiple people are like, let's just cut the segment.
Yeah.
And Vince is like, it's good business. Like, you gotta do it. Or you're fired.
It's like a real life J. Jonah Jameson.
He really is. He really is.
Ugh.
So that's just, that's just
more
a small
evil.
example of like the kind of shit that he would do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's multiple segments. I remember the program that he did with Trish Stratus, where his wife was comatose, so he would just like bring out these hot women in front of her while she was like, it was so stupid, and I can't believe she played along. She'd sit in her fucking wheelchair, and she'd be like all dead and shit. She's like a vegetable. I forgot why she was like a vegetable in the wheelchair or whatever. And then he'd like make out with like the hottest divas, they were called at the time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I mean, he's the guy. He's like you said, he's the Lord. He's the king there.
Right.
So imagine he comes up with this idea. I mean, it's so when you think about it now as an adult, if you're anything but disgusted by this, like I don't know what to tell you, man. Like imagine your boss, the person who's paying your bills, he's writing your checks. He's the one who is he's everything to if you want to be a WWE superstar.
Yeah.
He's everything.
You got to kiss the ring.
And he comes to you. Not some weird writer who has some weird idea about like we should do a live sex celebration. God himself comes to your locker room and is like, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Or you can find a new place to work. But guess what?
Yeah.
The WWE, no matter how many AEW fanboys, WCW fanboys, ECW, Ring of Honor, whatever, I don't give a TNA.
Yeah.
No matter what you guys think or say, the WWE is the major leagues.
Of course.
They're the biggest budget, the most famous. They are the NBA to your college or no, I'm sorry, not college, Canadian basketball
minor
league,
league.
CFL, that.
Yeah.
So it's a downgrade. Wherever you go is a downgrade.
I don't know any serious, even like semi-wrestling fan that would argue with that. Like
AEW fans would.
Let's be serious.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Serious.
Let's be serious.
No,
let's be fucking for real now, bro.
No, even from money alone, like
just the budget of the show. Just watch an AEW show and then watch a WWE show. Just the production alone.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just not comparable.
No.
You may get higher quality wrestling.
Sure, you can argue you prefer it.
Yeah,
or that's better. It's a better show, but it's not as big.
No, it's not as successful.
For better or worse,
Yeah. I'm sure you could watch basketball players in Slovenia, and I bet you it's more competitive.
That's where they're coming from.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's a more entertaining game to watch.
Sure.
But it ain't the NBA.
Right.
So imagine being put in that position where he comes to you and he's like, listen, I'm just gonna eat your ass on camera. That's
cool.
That's what's gonna happen. So just
I'll see
get ready.
Yeah.
Prepare. That segment's in
Right.
Prepare.
Yeah.
Because in 15 minutes you're going out there and you're taking your pants off.
Right.
I mean, what do you say? And that was his on-screen persona.
Right.
It's no surprise that he was a fucking scumbag.
Yeah. Well, and he got away with it. He got away with it for so long. It's only now that the cows are coming home. So,
yeah.
I mean,
WWE needed oversight. And this thing, he thought he was going to he was going to do this TKO group thing, this merger, and then he was going to make more money than he ever made in his entire life. But what really happened was he didn't realize that these other guys were like, bro, this is a business. You can't be doing that kind of weird ass shit anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he anticipated that it would bring more scrutiny with it too. And, not to mention, we're in 2024, my friend. And people have long memories for this kind of stuff.
Right.
So, I don't know how, I guess I can because he'd always gotten away with it up until this point, but I just don't know how you can not realize that hammer's about to come down on you.
Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe that's why he sold so much of his stake.
I guess so, but I don't know.
A lot of people cut and ran.
Yeah. I think overall, this is a good thing for the industry at large.
Yeah.
Because if hopefully he sees justice and, assuming all these accusations are true, I hope that they are able to clean shop and it start from a relatively clean slate.
Yeah.
That performers are able to go into feeling safe and protected and, the way it should have been the entire time, but obviously it was not. So, it behooves WWE and the industry at large to accept whatever may be coming for the old timers.
Yeah.
Because fighting against that's only going to make you look bad. Yeah. It's only going to tear you down with those guys.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to go down with that ship, by all means, open your mouth and start defending people like Vincent McMahon. But if you want to see the other side of this thing, you just kind of have to let this moment happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it's good. It's good for the business at large. It's horrendous, horrific, nightmarish that it had to happen to these people. This woman, I mean, what she put herself through and what she had to go through and what she was put through. Again, you read the court documents and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And I I can't even put into words what that must have. You can't imagine.
No.
You can't imagine like that's what your job is. That's what your life is for years. And people are gonna say, "Oh, well, she accepted the gifts.
She was an adult."
Yeah, and she made her choices. Yeah, she made her choices, but when you're, again, it's the power dynamics of like when you're put in that position, are you really making choices? When you're on your last leg, are you really making choices or are you trying to survive? And when somebody in a position of power like Vince could have done anything for her.
Yeah.
Vince could have given her all those gifts for nothing.
Sure.
He had the power to just give her all of the luxuries, everything. He didn't just for nothing. He could have just done it,
or just pay her to do a regular job,
or just. Well, what I'm saying, like, yes, of course, but what I'm saying is like to say that she had to do those things to get that stuff is like he could have just done that stuff. It's not like she was doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like she wasn't working for she wasn't generating income. She wasn't doing anything for the WWE except for this.
He took advantage of her.
Yeah,
he took advantage of her. He preyed on her.
Yeah,
and
it's not. Yeah, and like you said, he could have just given her a job.
Yeah, it's a regular job.
The thing that she asked for, just the regular job.
All she asked for originally.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's. I mean, there's more details that are coming to light, and again, if this goes to trial and this becomes like a big thing. We're probably going to see a lot more stuff. Probably a lot more people.
Big names.
Yeah. All of the Vince guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have to wonder, or they have to wonder, like, oh, no, you know, what was I involved in? Like, what's about to come back?
It could be, like, almost exactly a Weinstein situation where it's like you follow the money and you see who was involved, who was friendly, who was there at the time, who should have known. Who probably knew.
Taking out the morality of it, as a person, you have to be like if somebody, like I won't go into the details, but like part of the stuff that he was doing was like showing pictures to his friends and being like, that's a hot piece of ass, right? And they're like, let me get some of that. And he's like, sure. Like, you want Thursday at 11 o'clock?
Right.
And then he'd hit her up and be like,
let me pencil you in.
Yeah. And be like, free up 11.
Yeah.
Because homeboy's coming.
Yeah.
And
unbelievable.
You have to be just a different kind of person to obviously do that kind of shit, but to not think far enough ahead in your life that like, are you thinking that you're just gonna get away with this forever?
That's the thing though, is that like for so long, people did get away with it.
Vince, I can understand because he's worth billions of dollars. He owns the WWE.
Yeah.
He could make her life hell. Like, he has the resources to be like, I could understand him being in his high castle looking down and going like, you're not going to say anything about
Olympus
this.
will never fall.
Yeah. But the Olympians down looking up at him and thinking like, he'll never let this fall, right? Like, you have to be. But maybe that's what it takes. You have to be that kind of arrogant piece of shit scumbag person to do that in the first place. So of course your brain is wired to go, no one's going to find out about this. I'll never get caught.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I think that are important to take into account. One is that he was surrounded by yes men. Had to be.
Oh, yeah.
Had to be.
1,000,000%.
In order to get away with all this.
Oh, those dudes.
Secondly, the power dynamic extends to men as well. So they're all going along with it. Like, yeah, Vince is cool because he pays my bills. Like, what am I going to say? I can't say anything.
Right.
You know, even if they felt so morally inclined to, they probably didn't feel, you know, empowered to speak up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, but yeah, again, like, what's the HR department look like at WWE?
What's that?
You just go into the office and he's there
with a steel chair. Can I help you? Can I help you?
Can I help you? And then every office you go into is just him in different costumes.
Sure.
Oh man, he's a horrifying human.
Terrible.
Being. Just a bad person.
Yeah.
Just a bad person.
So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out, but I think it's, as long as things are, you know, as long as there's justice in this case, I think it's good for the industry at large
Yeah.
and for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Really, you know.
There was never any checks and balances at WWE.
No.
And it's good now that there's like, at first I thought, excuse me, he was selling because, he's just a money hungry, just a scumbag.
Yeah,
so of course, like
78, you know.
Yeah, and he's like just cashing his chips now at this point. So I just thought that like he was giving up on the business and he was just gonna like sell to some Saudi group and like, whatever. But now it's pretty clear that he was trying to get while the getting was good and get the fuck out.
Yep.
And even that is like the fact that there wasn't anybody else there to be like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? You're selling you're merging with this kind. Like, what's the motivation behind this? Because it feels kind of nefarious that you're doing this. WWE. Even though this TKO group thing looks like it's gonna be, it has the potential to be like a huge thing, especially if you're a fight fan. The WWE and the UFC for all that matters. Neither one of them needed to do this. And it's a strange, I mean, we talked about it on the podcast when it happened, but this is a strange merger. If you think about the fan bases, you're not seeing a lot of, I mean, other than people like you and I, you're not seeing a lot of carryover of like WWE fans and UFC fans. Like
the mega fans of either of them tend to not like the other,
Yeah. So even in the beginning, it was a weird merger, and now the more information that comes to light, it feels like Dana was trying to get as much money as he could, as much resources that he can. It makes sense. Vince, it just kind of feels like, oh, I get it now. I see what you're trying to do. You're cashing out, bro. You knew this. You knew the hammer was coming down.
It's trying to disappear.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. Hopefully, I'll say this. From a selfish standpoint, I really, really hope that Triple H is not involved. I really hope that he's going to come out of this unscathed, because he's been a scumbag in the past too. And if you know anything about like his personal life and the stuff with China and the stuff with like how he would bury other wrestlers and like that's wrestling politics,
right?
And the stuff with China is like not great, but it's also like that's your relationship, man. That sucks, but you didn't do this person. You didn't do right by this person and blah, 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 blah. But that's none of my business.
Right.
But taking advantage of, molesting, raping, doing all kinds
enabling.
Yeah. Even if he just enabled it, even if he knew and just looked the other way, it's like man, it's going to, I really hope not. But I don't know, man. It ain't looking good for the home team.
No.
It's looking like by the end of this, it's going to be just all new faces at the top.
Hey, maybe that's what they need,
Yeah,
clear house.
But the thing is, like, the WWE is a unique business in that you need people who know the business. It's not like, obviously, other sports you need people who understand the sport to run it. But WWE is different because like it's not just about understanding wrestling. It's about understanding the fan base. It's about understanding the history of wrestling. It's about understanding why certain storylines work and why others don't work. It's like, it would be like a movie getting a rewrite and bringing in an entirely new cast of writers who didn't read the source material. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like it's
or
not,
like fresh out of their like student film. From college.
And then they're like, we need you to helm this $1 billion franchise. It
Good
would
luck.
be like asking a screenwriter who had never read any comics to like write a Batman movie, where you're like, well, he doesn't. Not to say that this person doesn't understand movies. People, you can understand the sport.
Right.
But you have to understand the intricacies of what makes good wrestling great.
Well,
Paul Levesque, Triple H, understands what makes...
Not using his government name.
I mean, that's my boy, Paulie L. He understands wrestling to, like, its molecules.
Yeah.
And
well, he lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what a good storyline is. He's been a part of bad storylines.
Sure.
So he understands what's good and what's great and what works and what doesn't. If you replace him with a bunch of fucking pencil pushers and dorks who are like, oh, this makes the most sense. It's like sometimes wrestling doesn't make sense. And that's why it's so good.
It often doesn't. It usually doesn't.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm afraid of at the end of this. I mean, obviously, I want justice, and I want everybody to get their comeuppance, and I want this woman to get the justice that she deserves, and probably the payout that she deserves. And Vince needs to face whatever consequences he deserves.
Sure.
So I want all of that to happen.
Sure.
I'm just afraid at the end of the day, like, I don't know what it's going to do to the biz.
Here's the thing. I have to believe that there were some people from the old guard that didn't partake in that sort of business, you know? There has to be. There's got to be
wishful thinking.
There's got to be. There's got to be. I have hope that there
Brock
is.
Lesnar is married with a wife and children.
Yeah.
He has a This man has a family. And he was doing that shit.
Yeah.
And not only that.
Allegedly.
He's married. Allegedly.
Yeah.
He's married to Sable.
Right.
Another wrestling legend. Mm-hmm. So it's...
in all honesty,
he's married to the person that we all had a crush on when we were kids.
Yes.
He wifed that and was like, that's not enough.
Well, I don't know, man. I can't speak on things I don't know. Obviously, we'll know more.
Sure, you can. That's what we do.
That's what we do here. I would rather not in this case because it's very delicate. But I will say, even at the cost of the show, wrestling in general, like people will figure it out.
Yeah.
Even if it takes a complete new guard that doesn't get it right at first, I think injecting new blood into this thing is exactly what's needed. And especially because I feel like a newer generation will be even better at listening to their audience and figuring out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Being even more receptive to change.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see how it goes. It may be the Wild West for a little bit.
Younger people, younger writers would be more receptive and more willing to bend. And like that was another thing that was wrong with the old guard and Vince in particular was like, if he had an idea, that was it. He was just going to push forward with it. Yeah. Like I was saying about the Alita story, but even in like storylines with two wrestlers going like two male wrestlers. If the audience was like, we don't like this, he'd be like, well, they're gonna.
Sure. Yeah.
And you have to think that like the arrogance of a person like that who can night after night hear the crowd just boo maliciously.
The customer's wrong.
Yeah. I'm just think like, no. He's Principal Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it's an interesting time for wrestling. Mm-hmm. So. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
No, that's all right. It's right. Okay. No. Do what you need to do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
do a chihuahua break.
Yeah. Chihuahua break.
She's not even looking at the camera.
She's a palate cleanser.
Yeah, there you go.
The palate is cleansed.
Look at that palate. Wow, look at that palate. Hi, internet. Vince who? I'll bite his balls. All right, here you go. Take this. But yeah, I think we're in a very interesting place and time for wrestling, and I'm hopeful that whatever happens will bring the change that is needed in the industry. Because, honestly, we talked about it in the past, even like putting aside obviously the justice for this person who was obviously wronged. Wrestling has needed a shakeup, and too much of it is reliant on the old guard.
Yeah,
too much of it is anchored. I'm looking at you, AEW, on like bringing out the old dogs that don't know new tricks and like saying, "Remember him? Remember?
See?
Hey, look, it's Sting again."
Yeah.
No offense, Sting. But
yeah.
I just think it's time. I think it's time for a reset, and this may be exactly what does it. So we'll see.
Speaking of shakeups, speaking of changes, big changes to billion-dollar businesses. We finally have, I shouldn't say a substantiated rumor, but like at least an industry insider rumor.
Streets is talking
about who could be replacing Kang the Conqueror, the big bad of the forthcoming MCU phase. Mm-hmm. And it's none other than Jonathan Majors. No. He's back.
Wait a minute.
He's just grown a mustache. John David Washington is appearing to be one of the front runners of who's going to replace Jonathan Majors. Another guy caught up in
some stuff.
Yeah. This is kind of crazy. John David Washington is the last person that I would think would replace John David Washington. I'm just gonna call him John David, maybe just John, maybe just David.
JD Wash.
JD Wash. We'll call him JD Wash. JD Wash. He doesn't have the same physical presence that Jonathan Majors has. So now you're not just rewriting the character, but you're rewriting like the physicality of the character.
He's less intense.
Very, very
he's smooth. He's cool. That's kind of what he's known for being.
Yeah, he's a. I mean, if he wasn't American, I would say like he could be a Bond. He could be. I'd put him in a Bond. Front running for a Bond. He's just Let me just say this. I might have said this before on the show. I'm going to say it again. I don't get the John David Washington hate. I don't get it.
I haven't heard this.
Oh, dude, yeah. Some people do not like this dude. They think he's boring. They think he's like...
Is it like Nepo Baby allegations?
Yeah, I think it's Nepo Baby stuff, but I think it's just like he gets in movies and he's not interesting. Like the people who don't like Tenet, part of the reason they don't like it is John David Washington. But other people don't like Black Klansman, and it's because of John David Washington. They say like everybody else, like Adam Driver and Topher Grace and it's just Adam Driver and Topher Grace who anchored that movie, and John David Washington.
Sure,
like the movie is good because of them and not John David Washington. And I'm just like, I've seen a lot of tweets about how people are like, he's very like milquetoast, doesn't have the charisma that his dad has, and it's like, first of all. He's the only human being on the planet that has the charisma that he has.
Who could?
He's Denzel Washington. There's nobody else on Earth, probably in multiple universes, with the on-screen presence and charisma that Denzel Washington has. So that's not a fair comparison because you could do that with any actor, not just his son.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, pick any actor and you're like, I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to go with Denzel Washington 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But... They accuse him of being like boring and doesn't have like a very good on-screen presence and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't see what you guys see.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing in Tenet.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing in Black Klansman. I haven't seen that new sci-fi movie that he's in.
Oh yeah. I haven't either. The
creator or something.
Yeah. I heard mixed things about the movie itself.
I think he's great.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see him in more stuff.
I haven't seen him in anything that I'm like, this guy stinks.
No.
I really, it's funny you bring up Tenet because Tenet is like, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say like a star-making role for him, but he is so good in it.
He's so good.
He's so good. Like he has that swagger, but also is like uniquely himself. He's not. It doesn't seem like he's putting on like a pastiche of his dad.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
I don't get his dad at all, other than the fact that they look similar and like the tenor of their voice or the timbre of their voice is similar.
You get in the voice every once in a while, but
other than that, I really don't get any. I don't get Denzel from JD Wash from his performances. The first fight scene where he's in Tenet, where he's trying to convince the lady to go along with his scheme about the painting or whatever, and they take him into the kitchen, and you think, oh, he's about to get his wig split.
Yeah.
And then the way he goes about that fight scene, like you said, I mean, just swagged out, charismatic, super fucking cool. Hey, that's awesome. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, no, that's really, yeah.
You need ice?
You need any more ice? Do you want to get it right now?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and just get it.
Sorry.
We weren't doing anything. It's okay.
Unreal. She walked by and she coughed a little bit. She did like a little sorry. And I was like, and I didn't even move because I was like, it's not a big deal. And then you pull that.
You didn't mean to.
I just wanted water with ice. I didn't think it'd be that loud.
You could have grabbed it, you know.
I thought it would be like a. I didn't think it would be.
Have you never used our ice maker?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, my bad.
Oh my goodness. Oh my good.
Okay.
This is what we're working with here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Sherry. I hope your water's cold.
It's very cold.
Unbelievable.
John David Washington.
Yeah. Yes, his fight scene. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm watching that and I'm like, this is a guy who you know, I want to see this dude in everything. I want to see, yeah. So, to bring it back to the MCU thing, I believe in John David Washington, but this is a strange choice.
Yeah. Well, they were saying the other option that was in talks was Coleman Domingo.
Now that, I saw that, and that guy
Yeah.
could see replacing Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
And it's just really just the physicality.
Sure.
Coleman Domingo he looks like a guy, he looks like Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Or I guess what the MCU was going for
Sure.
with their on-screen portrayal.
Yeah. John David Washington I see is more like lean and suave.
Yeah.
As opposed to like kind of a bigger guy with a commanding presence.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, if you go with Coleman Domingo, you go for more of a one-to-one replacement.
Right.
You go with John David Washington, and you have an interesting opportunity to kind of rewrite the character, right?
Sure.
You could do this thing where, because Kang is all of these different things in all these different universes, and you could bring in John David Washington and have him be suave, debonair, charismatic, smooth. He could be that villain or that version of Kang, and I think that's an interesting thing to. That's
like
an
that
interesting
more.
direction to go in.
I kind of like that. I like that version of a villain more.
Yeah.
It's more interesting to me.
Yeah.
You know, it seems a little more layered.
Yeah.
Not to say that Jonathan Majors didn't have range. Obviously, the guy is very talented, but yeah, I think John David Washington brings a certain elegance to the role that we weren't getting otherwise.
I think Jonathan Majors, especially in Loki season 1, showed the potential of what like his physicality mixed with his charisma could be for that character, because he was physically imposing and scary
And
but he
weird.
was- and weird,
Yeah.
but also hyper intelligent too. The character, especially in Loki season 1, he was exhausted
Yeah.
by everything that he had seen.
The potential of everything.
Yeah. And Jonathan Majors was perfect doing that. He just really fucking nailed that energy. So I mean, it really is a shame that he's a scumbag too. Because he's so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a shame. What a shame.
All this wasted talent.
Yeah. It just, so hopefully we don't hear anything about John David Washington or anybody else.
Please.
It's
No.
like we're running out of stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that the MCU really they really got to nail this,
Yeah.
They really got to nail it, cuz this is, to me, feels like I don't know how many more chances casual audiences are going to give the MCU.
I mean, it's clear that they're already stopping to give those chances.
Yeah.
With Captain Marvel 3.
The Marvels.
The Marvels.
Yeah.
Colon the Marvels.
The Marvels. It's the Marvel (S) the Marvels.
Parentheses S. Marvel or Z. Yeah, I think we're already there. I think it's gonna take a lot of buzz to bring people back.
Yeah.
And there's been the speculation that Deadpool 3 is gonna be that, to bring people back to the MCU, but
It is an MCU movie, but it's kind of not.
technically it is, but like it's not. It's already established as this other thing.
Yeah, and the fact that they're using
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh
Wolverine.
Jackman's Logan, it's all this like outsider stuff.
Sure.
So like, all right, yeah, we'll go see that movie because we like those people.
Not
but
because it's an MCU movie.
exactly,
though. Yeah.
exactly.
That's completely like outside of the realm of any reason why I think almost anyone would go see that movie.
Yeah.
Unless
Now-
you're like a diehard or something.
Now maybe they're hiding a lot of cameos, a lot of MCU cameos.
I would assume with a Deadpool movie, you know,
and
there's been a lot spoiled. You know, people have been seeing like taking pictures on set. And
well,
stuff.
okay, that's exactly what I was about to get into. Was the fact that like they were so open about some of the stuff, some of the like on-set stuff, that I'm starting to think they have so much in the pocket that they're like, yeah, whatever,
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
we'll show you Wolverine in his suit,
Right.
because yo, you got no idea what we got in ready to go in
Yeah.
the back pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe there's a lot of connective tissue that's going to get us to the MCU, but as it stands, it's like that's a Sony.
A Fox.
Fox, sorry,
Yeah.
not Sony. Fox. That's a Fox movie. That's not an MCU movie.
Right.
That's a Fox movie. So, sure, if they're banking on that, but no, you need a win for the MCU. You don't need to bring back old actors. You need a win. You need a good new movie,
Yeah.
and they really need to nail this Kang character. Man, Jonathan Majors really fucked them.
Yeah.
Oh man, he fucked them so bad.
Yeah. He was right there.
Oh man,
Right there.
And he was. I mean, he's perfect. He's
Yeah.
perfect. He was nailing it, and also in his career, this guy who had put on a couple of stellar performances in a couple of different movies, a guy who's like on the cusp of maybe an Oscar-worthy performance.
He had some credentials. Yeah.
And then you're like, we snatched up this guy before he went off and did like a couple of A24 movies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is perfect. And also he's shredded.
Yeah.
People love him. And then you put him in the movie and you're like, holy shit, he nailed it. He's awesome in it. Dude, you have to think like Kevin Feige and all those executives probably for a second just sat in the office and just were like breaking pencils over and over and over.
No,
again.
they sat in silence probably for
Yeah,
like
they
a
all just
full
were like,
hour and just like no. Let's just sit.
Did you just hear someone in the back? Get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out.
We don't need that right now. Yeah.
So John David Washington. I'm hoping
that was Kathleen Kennedy.
get her out.
Get her
Get
out.
her out of here.
You did this with Star Wars too. Go.
I think he could do really well because I you know, this you know, as, you said it, I said it, so now I can say this podcast is a John David Washington fan.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Fight us.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, I don't know.
Also, Tenet fans.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Took a couple viewings, but
Yeah.
I became one.
It's so much. It's like that. It's that meme of the two guys on the train,
Yeah.
and it's like when you're
One's really sad, the other one's happy.
yeah. So when you're on the right side and you're just like watching Tenet because it's a fun movie, or it's like being a Tenet hater. You're on that side and it's like, all right, man, what are you so upset about?
Yeah.
If you're on this side, it's like it's awesome. The movie's awesome.
It's great, yeah.
Dude, I love that movie. So I could go home right now and watch it. I could
Yes.
put it on right now.
Yeah.
It's so, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's awesome. It really is.
I came home the other day and Lottie and Brad were watching it. They had just started it.
You
I
just sat
got home
down?
from work. I just put my stuff down and watched the whole movie. I was like, this movie's
you don't
awesome.
say a word, you just sit.
No, dude, I came in and I was like, you guys are watching Tenet? Kick ass. And I just put my stuff down.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go, dude. This movie fucks. And just watched it because it's awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking,
It's going to be one of those, like, if they ever show on, like, TBS, you just got to watch wherever you pick it up on.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully you've seen it before though, because like
Sure, yeah.
try to watch that
even
movie
if
an
you
hour
have,
in.
even if you have,
That's
it's
true.
like, you
That's
know.
true.
All right.
Yeah.
We're watching for vibes, my friends.
Yeah. And John David Washington, he's got the vibes, man. He's got
Does.
the vibes.
Yeah.
He's got the vibes. And not for nothing, but I think I saw this too. I saw a lot of people saying that his relationship with Robert Pattinson falls flat. And I was like, I don't.
Not at all.
That's what I'm saying.
By the end of it, like, I wish we had so much more time with those two characters.
And they do too in the movie. That's what he's talking about. Is like he's starting to realize who he is to him.
Right.
And he's like,
spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry. But he's like, I'm just now realizing how important you are to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey man, we're about to go on so many adventures, and he's at the end of his life. He knows that he's at the end of his life. And John David, the protagonist, knows that he's starting to realize that he's at the beginning, but also at the end. He's watching his friend at the end of his life, but knowing that it's all going to come full circle.
We will all end up
stuff.
here eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
great.
ending, and
Great.
I get emotional every time I watch it. And it's because their chemistry's so good. I just don't understand when people criticize that part of the movie.
No, absolutely.
I don't get it.
No, I don't. I think they got those people probably got too caught up in the minutia of like the tech and stuff.
Yeah,
because that's what my problem was the first time watching it. I got too wrapped up with trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
because that's what like Inception's all about, is like trying to crack the code of this thing.
Yeah,
that's not what Tenet is. Tenet is like actually a pretty simple story when you break it down.
Yeah,
if you just go along for the ride. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Just accept what they tell you at face value.
Yeah.
There's a lot of techno babble. There's gibberish involved. Whatever you get, you get. Just know generally what's happening. You'll have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Robert Pattinson's awesome in it, too.
He's great.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if that becomes like a real thing, or if they, pull a whammy on us and write Kang out, or, cast a white character. God, that would be so funny.
They wouldn't do that.
No.
They wouldn't do that.
But it would be hilarious if they were just like, yeah, we're gonna put who's a big Glenn Howerton.
Yes.
Just like,
oh, I mean, don't let me start thinking about that. That's actually pretty good. Just have him freaking out the entire time. Oh.
Like, this guy wants to do more movies, so here you go.
Yeah.
Here's a 9-movie deal.
Sure.
As Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah. You can't do Always Sunny anymore.
No. All right.
Okay.
Let's get into the cheers.
Cheers of the week.
All right, you know what time it is, kids. So, Obi, start us off. What's your cheers, brother?
My cheers of the week goes to Mitski.
Mother
is mothering. Sherry invited me to go see Mitski.
The one who was getting ice in the middle of the show.
Yeah,
Sherry. Yeah,
that's
that
her.
one.
That's her. The Sherry the Interrupter, is like I like to call her. But yeah, we went to see her at her Orlando engagement. It was actually only the second stop of her tour, right? The first one was in Miami. So
weird. She started in
Florida, right?
Yeah.
Don't usually see that, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
I kind of, I won't say I spoiled the concert for myself, but I looked up a review for the Miami show, and I think the Miami Herald, I want to say, and it was an absolutely glowing review. Now I'm like, oh, okay, let me get strapped in for this thing, because, I like Mitski, but I wouldn't consider myself like a super fan. Like, I haven't given myself enough time to listen to a lot of her albums. But I like what I've heard. I especially like her latest album. So, I knew enough to enjoy myself at the concert.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with the glowing review. I thought it was an incredible show. She did a song with what's his name? David Byrne.
John David Washington.
Yes. With
she
David.
has a song with David Byrne?
Yeah, for Everything Everywhere All at Once, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, that last song at the end.
Oh.
So this review that I read kind of painted the picture for me. That's what I'm saying. I kind of spoiled the show for myself. But they said that it's very clear she gained inspiration from his performances.
I mean, who hasn't?
True. But this is the first show I've seen from like a pop or rock act that was fully choreographed and like an actual performance, as opposed to just like, a band playing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like really, really well done.
Yeah.
And like super moving, and you could tell a lot of it was interpretive dance, and like she was clearly not afraid to be weird. And I don't think a lot of the audience was expecting that, because they seemed to be like, woo,
Yeah.
you know, and not like in it for that. But I, for one, going in with like limited, I guess, anticipation for it. Huh?
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Sure, the interrupter. Yeah, I mean, I going into it without like really knowing what to expect was really blown away by her stage presence, her performance. The entire band was awesome. She sounded great. It was a great night out. So if you're so inclined and she's stopping by, I highly recommend you catch the show.
Yeah.
This is a shirt from the show.
Look at that. Merch.
Mitsk.
Mitz merch. Mitsk merch. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Gonna have to catch her the next time around, because I also live in Orlando and missed the show. So.
What? I didn't cry. Sherry cried a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you should.
Yeah, I mean definitely one of those
Sad girl vibes.
Yeah. Anyway, my cheers of the week is going to the documentary The Greatest Night in Pop. Newly released Netflix documentary. Netflix is just making a documentary about anything they can get their hands on. They're gonna make a documentary about the making of Kleenex. They're just making it. You just hear that bum.
Yeah. You know why?
Huh?
They're cheap to make.
Yeah.
So you can make 1 million of them.
That's true. You just use stock footage that you pay a little bit of money for. Sometimes they probably don't even pay for.
No. You grab in a couple of professors to talk about it. Get your little Chiron.
Yeah. And
That's
then and you do your quick little cold open where like they walk in, it's super dramatic, and they're like, when
so tell us how we got here.
Kleenex changed the world.
Just B-roll people sneezing.
Yeah, you kind of know what you're getting into with a Netflix documentary. So it's really not that Netflix produced it so much as, at this point, the subject matter that they are producing. And this one is really cool because it's about the song the song for aid in Africa.
The world.
I've heard the song like 100 times, and now I can't fucking think about it. It's not "Heal the World." That's a Michael Jackson song. And it's not.
Is it the one that Michael Jackson was part of, though?
Yeah, Michael Jackson is a part of it. Dude, everyone was a part
of it. Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Fuck.
All right, I'm gonna look it up. You keep thinking.
When you tell me the title is when the melody will come to me. But anyway, the documentary, it's not about AIDS. It's about famine in Africa.
Famine
song.
I thought you were talking about Live Aid for a second.
No, that is what it was inspired by. Was Harry Belafonte. You guys should really watch the documentary. That's why it's my cheers. But
sure.
Harry Belafonte had
We Are the World.
We are the world.
Yeah.
We are the children. So Harry Belafonte had this idea to do something in the same vein as Band-Aid, and he came up with this idea. So he tasked Lionel Richie, who was like the biggest star of that year. He was huge. He won a bunch of awards. He hosted the AMAs. The AMAs,
Dancing on the Ceiling.
Huh?
Dancing on the Ceiling.
The AMAs is the catalyst for this whole thing. So they have. I'll just give you the basic rundown, but they have only one night to record this song because all these producers are like, oh, let's get as many stars as we can on it because that's going to obviously bring in more money. You see Bob Dylan on the singing credits, and Bob Dylan fans and Kenny Loggins fans and yada yada and so on and so forth. But the only way to get all these people in the same studio is to pick a day that they're all going to be there in one place, which is the AMAs.
Sure.
So all these people go to LA to go to the AMAs. So they have this idea of like when everybody's there after the AMAs, we're going to rush them over to the studio and we're going to record this song in one session. And if you are a musician, or if you even understand the logistics of getting more than 5 people, even if you have a big friend group, you understand the logistics of it's fucking difficult to get that many people to do one thing at in one place. So to do one session, and get this song done with that many egos, personalities, it's a fascinating thing. It's only an hour and a half, and it's just like it's fun, it's quick, it's pithy, and Lionel Richie, who kind of spearheaded the whole thing, he's like the main person in the documentary. You hear from his perspective a lot, and you hear like recordings from Quincy and Michael and Dionne Warwick. She pops up for a little bit, so that's always fun because she's great. So it's a great documentary, and not to advertise anything for fucking Netflix, but I will say it's a great documentary.
What can I say? Dun dun.
I watched it the other night, and I was just like, man, this was great.
Good watch.
Yeah.
Good watch. Okay.
And just, I just like studio footage.
Yeah.
Just really like watching studio footage. And there's like scenes where Michael, because he helped write the song, and there's scenes where he's in the studio just singing it by himself. And I'm obviously a massive Michael Jackson fan, but if you don't really understand why he's so great, this documentary kind of, in a vacuum, kind of shows you why he's so great. The way that he writes music, and the way that he sings, and like his mastery over his own voice and his mastery of pop music. Like, it's really exemplified in this documentary. So it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right.
One last thing we got, and you know what it is, kids. It's a review of this Brewski. So let's talk about the Sour Me from Duclaw Brewing Company.
Duclaw.
Obi, what'd you think?
As I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not much of a sour guy, but I will say I think the fact that this is slightly above the usual ABV, hence making it a little bit sweeter, and I love me some strawberry. It bumps it up on my list a little bit from an ordinary sour.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it is the flavors don't come off as artificial also, which is what I was afraid of. That would come off as like a Jolly Rancher or something.
Yeah.
But no, it tastes pretty fresh, crispy, still a little on the sour side. But all that being said, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I enjoyed it. And that is underrated because I don't like sours generally.
I think if you like sours, you'll enjoy this.
Yeah.
I think if you're a sour beer fan, I like you, not a big sour beer fan.
You like me?
I like you. I'm trying to not let my bias affect the score too much.
You should. That's the point.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys, if you watched this episode, you watched me finish 2 16-ounce cans, but don't let that fool you. I'll never drink this again.
I'll do that to any beer.
No, I think the higher ABV does kind of mask a little bit of the I think it makes it, I guess, easier to palate.
Yeah,
definitely. But it's not super high, so it's not like it's not too boozy. I will say, I only really get the raspberry puree. So I'm not getting. I mean, I get a little bit of the strawberry. The blackberry to me is not really coming through.
No,
I get the strawberry and the raspberry the most. I would recommend this to sour drinkers.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't drink it again. I'd have to give it I want to say a 3.5 or a 4.
Okay.
I'll go 4.
Okay.
I'll go 4.
Okay.
I'll go 4. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it.
So a 4 for me and a 4.5 for you for the Sour Me double triple berry.
It's very
Imperial
confusing.
Sour. It's a lot. It's a lot of sour.
That's a mouthful.
Double, triple berry
triple.
Imperial Sour
Do
Ale
a barrel roll.
from Dewclaw Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then it's over, kids. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you. It's a nice clink.
Yeah, it was. You can get more ice now if you want.
Yeah.